Vacation to closing. With local roots and national reach, Stride Bank is your go-to partner for all your banking needs. Stride Bank, your trusted financial partner since 1913. Find out more at stridebank.com. Stride Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
More than 600,000 Oklahomans have disabilities. We can't afford to leave great employees behind just because they do things differently.
Who we are and what we accomplish
are much more important.
Hire an Oklahoman with a disability and gain dependability, commitment, and lower turnover. Reach out. Oklahoma Rehabilitation Services, okdrs.gov, 1-800-845-8476.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. Or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters, that's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Ever wonder why someone would wake up at the crack of dawn just for a chance at the unknown? Maybe a better question is, what are you waiting for? Pacifico is brewed for those who follow their own path. That's living life anchors up.
Smokey the Bear.
Then you know why Smokey tells you when he sees you passing through. Remember, please be careful, it's the least that you can do.
What you desire, don't play with matches, don't play with fire.
After 80 years of learning his wildfire prevention tips, Smokey Bear lives within us all. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com. And remember,
only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
You say you'd never give in to a meltdown and never fill your feed with kid photos. You say you'd never put a pacifier in your mouth to clean it and never let them run wild through the grocery store. So when you say you'd never let them get into a car without you there, know it can happen. 1 in 4 hot car deaths happen when a kid gets into an unlocked car and can't get out. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
They say if you don't like the weather in Oklahoma, wait 5 minutes and check it again. Nope, not there yet. Ah, that's more like it. Being comfortable is important, and if it's -5 degrees or 100 degrees, Norman Air has you covered. Our impeccable quality and unbeatable service is what sets us apart from our competitors. It's just part of our mission to keep Oklahoma comfortable. Visit normanair.com for all your heating, air, plumbing, and electrical needs. Norman Air, service to the max.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
For the latest recruiting and Sooner news, catch Tyler McComas and Parker Thune on Locked In. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 3, right here on your home for Sooner fans, the Ref Sports Radio Network. The Ref Radio Sports Network is powered statewide by the insurance adjusters at Brown O'Haver. Fire, wind, theft, or tornado, we can help. Call 405-735-5510. Live from the Buffalo Wild Wing Studios, it's time to get locked in to the best Sooner recruiting and football news with Tyler McComas and Parker Thune.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino calling line at 405-329-9000. Text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Tyler McComas and Parker Thune.
And a happy early signing period eve to all of you out there. And what could be a very eventful day for all of us here tomorrow, covering Oklahoma and its early signing period for the 2025 class. That'll be a fun day tomorrow. Scuttlebutt abounds as it pertains to Cortez Mill, Michael Fasusi, and some others as well. But I still think the main storyline, and of course we'll get to recruiting, the latest on Michael Fasusi, Cortez Mills, everything else, but I still think the main story is Ben Arbuckle. And 24 hours ago, man, you and I were talking about it. What's going on? When is this hire going to be made? There was some panic on the text line on the YouTube live chats. And then about, 20, 25 minutes after you and I get doing this hour together, the news breaks, and it is indeed Ben Arbuckle. I'm wondering if, and this question really specifically goes out to the people that were very unsure or didn't like this hire yesterday. Now that 23 hours have passed, have you changed your mind at all? Have you gotten a little bit more optimistic about this hire as it pertains to Ben Arbuckle than maybe you were in the moment? And I think that I would qualify as one of those individuals. I didn't say that I hated the hire yesterday. I didn't even say I didn't like the hire yesterday. There were just some things that maybe I was a little bit skeptical about, but maybe looking into the system that he runs a little bit more, I think it's fair to say that there was some misconceptions maybe about the offense that Ben Arbuckle runs. I mean, wouldn't you say that that's a probably fair assumption for a lot of people?
Yeah, there's definitely some misconceptions that have been maintained by certain segments of the fan base. And I cited the statistic last hour. I think it's worth bringing up again. What Ben Arbuckle promised in his opening statement, if you will, last night when he was announced as OU's offensive coordinator, is exactly what he's done at Washington State. What he promised is that he's going to adapt his scheme to his personnel. And he mentioned that his mentors come from the air raid discipline, the West Coast discipline, the pro-style discipline. He's got a wide variety of influences on his system and the schemes that he runs offensively. But when you look at what he did in 2023 at Washington State versus what he did in 2024, Tyler, Washington State threw the ball 63% of the time.
Yeah.
It was 63-37 in favor of the pass in 2023. You make a change at quarterback, and it's John Mateer at the controls instead of Cam Ward. Washington State was on a 53-47 run-pass split this season. So they actually leaned in favor of the run after leaning heavily on the pass a season ago. So what that tells you is that, yes, Ben Arbuckle has done and is going to do exactly what he promised, which is he's going to run whatever makes sense, and he's going to implement whatever nuances make sense for the offensive personnel that he is handed at Oklahoma.
And this isn't anything new in the development of Ben Arbuckle, but let's all consider this, and let's be kind of honest with the situation that OU had this year. The quarterback play, I don't think that there's any other way to say it, the quarterback play overall, game in and game out, was disappointing. Is that solely on the shoulders of both quarterbacks that started games this year? No, not all of that is on the quarterback. You've got to throw blame at the offensive coordinators for maybe not developing the quarterbacks enough going into the season. I think that you certainly can blame the injuries that happened. There's a lot of things that you can place blame on as to why the quarterback position at OU wasn't better than it was this year. I mean, because, Parker, let's call it how it is, dude. Like, when we're talking about, I don't care what system you run, I don't care what conference you're in, you've got to have good quarterback play. I mean, if you want to compete for a national championship, a Power 4 conference title, you're going to have good quarterback play. And the more that you kind of look back at Ben Arbuckle's career and think what he might do here, I'm way more confident in his ability to develop a quarterback than I am what happened over the course of the past 12 months here. So he's going to have to develop a quarterback, whoever that is next year. Quarterbacks, it could even be plural. But there's another reason maybe why I'm optimistic about this hire is the quarterback play has got to be better. Let's start there. We'll talk about O-line and receivers and all that. QB play's got to be better next year. And I've got some confidence that dude can figure this out. He's going to have to.
You know what's wild? You know what's wild is the fact that we're sitting here talking like this about a guy that 5 years ago was doing exactly what my college roommate at the time was doing, which was delivering Uber Eats.
Right, yeah, I did see that
This
yesterday.
dude's rise has been truly meteoric. And to see what he's done at a place like Washington State where it's tough to recruit talent, man, it's tough. You got to develop the guys that you have, and you got to get the most out of them. John Mateer was a 2-star recruit in high school. And so to see what he has done over the course of his tenure on the Palouse gets me really excited about what he's going to do when he's handed legit dudes at a place like Oklahoma. And I mentioned in our emergency reaction podcast, the Ben Arbuckle hire, that the fact that Brent Venables vetted and interviewed so many candidates and landed on this guy speaks volumes. And everybody's instant rejoinder was, well, he's the same guy that hired Seth Luttrell. Couple of very key distinctions between that process and this process. That process lasted 48 hours. It was unexpected because Jeff Lebby left for Mississippi State. He was not that was not a job that Jeff Lebby was among the top 5 candidates for, like 5 days prior. And then, boom, things start to trend very quickly in his direction. He gets the job. All of a sudden, you got to figure out an OC, and you got to figure one out fast, and you got to figure out who's going to be able to keep things together in that building. Seth Luttrell was the easy way out. It was the easy choice for Brent Venables. It was a sensible choice at the time. It didn't work out, but that search lasted all of 48 hours because it had to happen fast. You couldn't drag your feet. You couldn't dawdle in making that hire. And moreover, the Sooners had just won 10 games, so it wasn't a high-pressure hire. This year, Tyler, Brent Venables has had 6 weeks to chew on this whole ordeal. He has had 6 weeks to check every single box and interview a wide variety of candidates from different conferences and backgrounds and styles of offense. And Ben Arbuckle is the guy that he is banking his coaching career on. This is the guy that he's willing to bet his job on. He wasn't betting his job on Seth Luttrell. He didn't have to.
He is now.
You're absolutely betting your job on Ben Arbuckle. So this is Brent Venables saying, this is the guy. I'm confident this is the guy. And if this isn't the guy, I'm going down with the ship.
Yeah, because Ben Arbuckle's name, like whatever happens with Brent Venables here, like when we talk about the success or failure of Brent Venables at Oklahoma, Ben Arbuckle's going to be one of the first names, if not the first name, that gets brought up, right? And if it fails, you'll ultimately bring up Seth Luttrell and the hiring of him a year ago as well. But if Brent succeeds here, you're probably going to be bringing up Ben Arbuckle and his success as an offensive coordinator. And if it fails here, you'll say, well, he put all of his trust in a very, very young OC, and it didn't work out, and it cost him his job. So Ben Arbuckle is a very, very key piece in this for sure. There ain't no doubt about it. The one hang-up I have is the one hang-up that others have as well. I mean, it's not like that he sounds a little like Muleshoe. Steely was in there cutting up audio today, and I heard him, and I'm like, oh, is he trolling? That's fine. Okay. Tuesday, and we had all this stuff Monday. Tuesday, he found some Muleshoe press conference stuff after the loss to Notre Dame, so he's going to troll him today. Okay. Then he runs the audio that I heard earlier. I'm like, oh, God, that was Ben Arbuckle. That wasn't Muleshoe. It is kind of frightening how those two sound so alike. My gosh.
We're gonna. I initially told Steely, hey, we need to play a game tomorrow called Arbuckle or Muleshoe, where we play sound clips of the two, and people have to guess who it is. I think we're gonna modify the title to Ben or B word, but the principle remains the same. They are virtually indistinguishable if you're just listening and not looking.
You think Ben Arbuckle should arrive at his introductory press conference in a black Escalade? That'd be pretty sweet, right? It'd be a nice little troll. Very, very nice little troll. All right, 405-651-3439. Real quick before we get to the text line, Bayern, all the staff members will be back. I know that said that in the release last night, but I got to say, initially I thought, okay, that sounds nice. And Joe John was the first name that was mentioned in that statement by Brent, but I'm still definitely in wait-and-see mode when it comes to that. Like all of the – not everyone can be back. It sounds like Kevin Johns is maybe the first one that's going to be left out. I don't think I'm totally buying just yet that Joe John Finley's your tight ends coach next year.
I'm not buying it either. I think there will be some additional staff turnover. What that looks like, I'm not exactly sure, but the two guys that we've long talked about as, guys that might return and might not, Tyler, are Joe John Finley and DeMarco Murray. Those are the two you aren't really sure about. Bill Bedenbaugh, he's sticking around. Emmett Jones, he's not going anywhere. DeMarco Murray and Joe John Finley, jury's still out.
Seth from the 918, Lincoln Riley scored 10 points in his last game at East Carolina, and when handed OU's roster, delivered some of the greatest offenses in the history of football. I hate this cautious optimism. Just support the guy and rally behind him. Why does this fan base have to complain about everything? It's so exhausting. I even saw some complaints about Randall Stevenson. Randall Stevenson was even catching some arrows today on social media.
Yeah, a guy that's costing OU $0.
$0, yeah.
Like, I hate this. Why is OU bringing in Randall Stevenson? The guy refused compensation. He's providing free support, and people are still finding a way to hate it.
405, what's the likelihood that John Mateer follows Ben Arbuckle? A lot of people want to know that. Well, Mateer's got to officially get into the transfer portal, and I heard you say this, I think, last hour, and I said it yesterday. I totally agree with it. It's, this. I'm not saying that this is the current situation, Parker, but let's play for a second like this is the current situation, where Brent Venables thinks that John Mateer is coming here, that Ben Arbuckle thinks John Mateer is coming to OU, that John Mateer thinks John Mateer is going to end up at Oklahoma. Like, all of that is great right now, and that could very well be the plan. I don't know. But the minute he hops into the transfer portal, there are teams out there that need a quarterback and need a quarterback in a bad way. And I think John Mateer could definitely be a guy, whereas everyone could see the writing on the wall that he's just going to follow his OC to Oklahoma. And I'm not saying that won't happen. That could very well happen. All I'm saying here is we know what the transfer portal is. We know how highly coveted quarterbacks are. And who's to stop a team or two or multiple from offering John Mateer an incredible amount of money to go play quarterback at their school next year? So the plan could be right now for that exact thing to happen. But we know how the portal works. And once he gets in the portal, then some crazy things can happen.
Some crazy things can absolutely happen. So, yeah, it's a tantalizing possibility right now. Mateer and Arbuckle rejoining Forza. I'm just saying, but John Ruiz or somebody might have other designs.
Yeah. They got the last Washington State quarterback.
They did
Cam
get the
Ward.
last Washington State
Worked
quarterback.
out well for him. But, yeah, look, that's why it's so hard to guess right now who the starting quarterback is game one for Oklahoma next year. Because I think that I don't think that there's just a couple of options on the board. I think that there's multiple options on the board. Could Michael Hawkins be your season-opening starter next year in 2025? I think that there's a chance of that. Could Jackson Arnold? Yeah. Could John Mateer? Yes. Could another player that we're not talking about right now from the portal be? Like, there's a lot of options right now who QB1 is for the 2025 season opener. There ain't no doubts. Realtor Paul says, you may have answered this. If you have, I'm sorry. How long is the transfer portal open? Well, that bad boy starts on it opens
December
on Monday.
9th.
Yeah.
December 9th, yeah. To January 10th, I think, if I'm not mistaken. It's about a month.
January 10th would be on a Friday, I believe. So, yeah, I think that's right. Okay, if John comes to OU, Johnny Football 2.0, says Tattoo Baker. Tattoo Baker, you can make the edits. I bet that's about a 1,200 like post right there if you drop that one.
Scott T says, OU starting quarterback in 2025, Cam Rising.
I can't trust Cam Rising to stay healthy at this point, man.
Hey, Utah.
He'll be older than he'd be around the same age as your two coordinators if Cam Rising gets here.
Hey, Utah, stole your OC, stole your quarterback too.
Yeah, that would have been a tough loss if you would have lost your OC to Utah yesterday. I'm sure a lot of people would have been upset about that.
Ooh, it was close too.
Well, I'm sure that's why.
Dicey.
Well,
it got dicey for a minute.
And that's maybe why the decision happened at 3:20, 3:25 yesterday, and not 3:25 on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah,
it's because that got so interesting with Utah.
Well, as I understand it, Sunday Arbuckle had offers in hand from OU and Utah, and slept on it. Woke up Monday and said, OU it is.
Sooner fan in Texas, is there going to be a press conference introducing Ben Arbuckle? They'll have a signing day press conference tomorrow with Brent. I would guess at some point they do a press conference with Ben Arbuckle. I mean, I guess they didn't with Zach Alley. Maybe I'm just hoping they will with Ben Arbuckle, but I guess that they would.
I'd hope so.
I mean, they need to. It's not going to change the offense next year. I just think that it would be a good look to introduce everyone officially to Ben Arbuckle. All right, keep the text coming, 405-651-3439. A lot of text already rolling in the first segment, as always. We'll get to as many of those as we can throughout the show, but we got to talk some Cruton next. Another decommit last night. Early signing period starts tomorrow. We'll give you the latest on Michael Fasusi and a whole lot more coming up next right here on The Ref. Horns Down Apple Pie Liquor is not your grandma's apple pie unless your grandma was a moonshiner with a PhD in flavor. This all-natural, 6-time distilled spirit is sure to light up any party, tailgate, or special occasion. Whether toasting a touchdown or yelling at the yums because Spike was safe, Horns Down Apple Pie is the perfect drink for celebrating the highs and lows of life in Oklahoma. Horns Down celebrates all of you who cheer from the berm, tailgate, on Lindsay Streak, and wreak havoc on social media. You can find our red bottle at your local liquor store or search for your closest location at drinkhornsdown.com.
VIP Suites. Only inside the Showplace Theater in Riverwind Casino.
Don't miss our candy cane giveaway every Friday in December.
Play with your wild card to win your share of $80,000.
Wrap up your year with a win at Riverwind.
Ho, ho, ho! Santa is making a special stop at Norman Regional Hospital. You and your family are invited to attend our free event, Holiday Cheer, on Healthplex Parkway. Stop by from 5 to 8 p.m. on Friday, December 6th at Norman Regional Hospital. Get in the holiday spirit with the carriage and train rides, crafts for kids, and photos with Santa. Sip on hot cocoa while shopping at vendor booths hosted by Norman Regional employees. We'll see you at 5 p.m. Friday, December 6th at Holiday Cheer on Healthplex Parkway. This holiday season, get ready to relive the magic. Join us for A Christmas Story, the musical, at Sooner Theater. Follow Ralphie Parker on his quest for the ultimate Christmas gift, a Red Ryder BB gun. With catchy tunes, heartwarming moments, and a dash of holiday spirit, it's a show the whole family will love. So grab your tickets and make some memories. A Christmas Story, the musical, live at Sooner Theater December 13th through the 22nd. Visit SoonerTheater.org for tickets and information.
Stand Up to Cancer asked leading cancer researchers to speak about why they do their work.
2 words come to mind for me. One is responsibility, the other is purpose.
It's just so inspiring to do research that impacts human lives.
Stand Up to Cancer has been a critical partner in advancing research for cancer.
Cancer research saves lives.
So please, help us fight in this battle against cancer.
Be a part of the team that ends cancer at standuptocancer.org.
Things like grass clippings and leaves can contribute harmful levels of nutrients into our surface and drinking water. We must improve water quality at Lake Thunderbird, our main drinking water source, which begins with taking care of our stormwater. Bag your clippings when mowing, or leave them to break down and nourish your lawn. We drink our stormwater, so don't blow it by leaving your grass clippings in the street. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. Cancer screening tests can help keep the person you love around longer by detecting changes before cancer develops, or catch it early when it may be easier to treat. And many tests are available for free or are covered by insurance. It's time to sound like a broken record. Tell all your friends and family, I love you. Get screened. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
Serving in Afghanistan, I was shot in the head by sniper fire. I was given a 5% chance to live. I'm Adam Alexander, and I'm a veteran. Today, I visit classrooms and share my story. I tell kids that with a little help and a lot of work, that you can overcome any challenge.
DAV helps veterans like Adam get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year.
My victory is being there for the next generation.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Locked in with McComas and Thune, live on the Ref for the Homeless Sooner fans. Tyler McComas, Parker Thune, Ref Army, listening worldwide via the free KREF app. Just search KREF in the App Store. Wheeling, West Virginia is tuned in today. Adrian, Michigan. Hayes, Kansas. I wonder if that's Scott Canick out there listening in Hayes, Kansas. Very nice guy. Flower Mound, Texas. Warrensburg, Missouri. Columbia, South Carolina. Covington, Louisiana. Inglewood, Colorado. Clinton, Oklahoma. all tuned in via the free KREF app and our Ref Army locator. Brought to you by Horns Down Apple Pie, 85 locations where you can find it throughout the state of Oklahoma. Dink and Addison did a great job, fantastic job with Horns Down Apple Pie. Go check them out. I don't know, football game this weekend, but there's conference championship games. Horns Down Apple Pie will make a great gift this holiday season. If position coach Bill Bedenbaugh stays at Oklahoma as the offensive line coach, then the feeling is that five-star offensive tackle Michael Fasusi will stick with the Sooners after renewed pushes from Texas and Texas A&M. If Oklahoma's new offensive coordinator wants to bring in his own people and Bill Bedenbaugh moves to another position group, then things could get interesting, as the rumor has been the A&M Aggies would be the biggest threat to flip the Louisville, Texas standout. Well, that was via Rivals, so they're saying that the feeling is that if Bedenbaugh stays, then you should be good with Michael Fasusi. Well, Brent said it last night, and the feeling definitely is that Bill Bedenbaugh would stay on staff. Therefore, you can never be 100% sure, especially at this point in the cycle. Mm-hmm. Good? Is that the feeling that we should have heading into tomorrow with the five-star offensive lineman? Can't feel comfortable.
No. Don't feel comfortable about Michael Fasusi. I feel okay. I feel okay about where things sit between Oklahoma and the five-star offensive tackle. I think there would have to be another turn taken if this thing were to swing more favorably towards Texas, and I don't think Texas A&M is even in the picture now that Lamont Rogers is officially on board.
Which is not shocking, by the way, that happened yesterday.
No, not shocking at all. But I think that all but eliminates Texas A&M from contention, and it becomes a question of whether he's going to sign with Oklahoma or whether Steve Sarkisian can pull one over on Brent Venables and company.
Well, and what's that going to have to mean here at the 11th hour?
Insane amounts of money.
Right. And Texas has that, and maybe they're willing to do that. But as long as Bill Bedenbaugh's here, then OU is always going to have a great chance to land Fasusi, and hopefully that's the news tomorrow when the early signing period hits tomorrow. So we'll be watching out for Michael Fasusi, and I guess do we have to pay? I mean, we're always going to have to pay attention, but the whole Cortez Mills situation has gotten interesting. There's all these predictions in for Nebraska, and he may very well end up a Nebraska Cornhusker tomorrow, but it doesn't maybe seem as of a guaranteed lock as it did 24 hours ago.
No, not a guarantee. I still lean that direction. I don't have the expectation that Cortez Mills signs with Oklahoma tomorrow, but Emmett Jones and the Sooners have given themselves a chance. More of a chance than they had 48 hours ago, I'll tell you that much.
Mm-hmm. Anything else on the recruiting that we got to be watching out for tomorrow? I mean, Cortez Mills, of course, Michael Fasusi. I mean, you had 2 decommitments yesterday. Of course, Jonathan Hatton decommits in the 2026 class, not the 25 class. We'll get into that. But you had another wide receiver decommit yesterday as well. So really, what outside Fasusi and Cortez Mills do we need to pay attention to tomorrow? Caleb Burns?
That's pretty much it at this point. I don't expect Caleb Burns to sign with Oklahoma. I expect him to sign with Baylor. So it's really just what happens with Cortez Mills, which is going to be happening early tomorrow morning, as I understand it. So be on the lookout very early on in the day for definitive news, definitive word on what Cortez Mills' plans are. But, yeah, outside of him and Fasusi, man, everything else just kind of feels like a formality. I don't believe Oklahoma pulls this off with Caleb Burns, so it's really just about what Mills does and what Fasusi does.
Yeah, Jonathan Hatton did decommit last night. He'd been committed to OU for, 14 months now? Really good running back in the 2026 class. We'll see. Maybe OU can get back in on that thing, potentially. Maybe there's definitely still a long way to go for the 2026 class, but interested to see what happens with Jonathan Hatton here moving forward. 918 Texter says, pretty pitiful class for 2025. 9th-ranked class in the SEC. Pitiful.
It's not a big class. It's not a very big class.
It's one of the smallest class. It's the second smallest class ranked inside the top 15.
Who has a smaller class?
Right now, Oregon has 17 commits.
Do they really?
To OU's 18, yeah.
Wow. Well, Oregon might sign Lincoln Cure tomorrow, so.
Yeah, that's true. Well, K-State's already going, hey, Deshaun Brame, what's up? So I think K-State believes that might happen.
A listener in the 918 says, a rival site also drug members along on the Arbuckle hiring news when it has been done for over a week now. I cannot emphasize this enough. It has not been done for over a week now. OU extended the offer to Arbuckle on Sunday. He went to bed Sunday with offers from OU and Utah. Woke up Monday morning, decided to take the offer from Oklahoma. The contract was finalized yesterday. This was not done. Like, trust me, ask people on the Utah side. If this had been done for Oklahoma a week and a half ago, I don't think the entire Utah beat and their commits and roster would have been under the impression that Ben Arbuckle was their guy.
Yeah.
So,
Jake from Wisconsin said, I thought Texas fans, when Fasusi committed to OU, said they didn't want/need him. Didn't they say that he wouldn't play right? Well, I mean, we got,
yes, that is what they said.
That's probably why he didn't sign with us, is because he wasn't guaranteed a spot. Like, he wasn't going to get to play right away. Fair point there, Jake from Wisconsin. Very, very fair point. Good on Texas A&M for taking Rogers from Drinkwitz, says Cherokee Sooner. Yeah, that was probably going to happen for quite some time. I'm sure Missouri even knew that was going to happen. KW the 918 says, Tyler, you and Travis aren't working tomorrow, are you? If so, we're doomed. Fasusi will flip for sure. Travis and I have had some tough days on air when it comes to commitments, or lack thereof, I guess. But the past few times that we've had a live commits on when we're on air together has actually worked out well. So I go into tomorrow being optimistic.
I knew we were going to get this text. Mississippi Pot Roast said, are you worried about Amarian Robinson? His post for his signing tomorrow has a picture of him in an Arkansas and a K-State jersey to go along with his OU uni. Yeah, that's not him in those Arkansas and K-State jerseys. Those are his high school teammates. One of them signing with Kansas State. I believe two of them are signing with Arkansas. He is signing with Oklahoma. That is not in question at all.
405 listening from Arbuckle Mountain Wind Farm. Very nice job. Very nice job, Arbuckle Mountain Wind Farm. Dude, we got a text yesterday, and I don't know if this individual texter found this or if this is going on the message board somewhere or on a Twitter thread or something like that. People found Arbuckle's wife's Facebook.
Really?
And you know how you can put it's almost like a border or something at the bottom of a Facebook photo?
Sure.
Hers had Boomer Sooner at the bottom of it, and the text was essentially like, hey, Arbuckle's wife is an OU fan. Look at this. I'm like, really, guys? We didn't have anything to do yesterday but go stalk his wife's Facebook and find a Boomer Sooner
the depths
on
the internet
photo.
rabbit holes that some people will go down.
And I guess that was his. I don't know. He was in the photo. I'll take everyone's word for it. I guess it could have been his sister. I don't really know, but someone he knows had Boomer Sooner there. Who quarterbacks the bowl game? Great text from the 405.
Brendan Zerbrug.
Show off that speed, dog.
Casey Thompson.
I mean, if Michael Hawkins stays, then he'll definitely be an option. Thought out there seems to be that he's going to stay.
Yeah, well, if you ask me to put money down on who starts the bowl game, I'd put my money on Michael Hawkins. Because I don't know if Jackson Arnold's around at that point.
Yeah. Now, that whole that's going to be the next big storyline, right? Is what do they do at quarterback? Now, I guess I just have the feel that Jackson Arnold's going to want to reset and go somewhere else. I don't know that. That's not information that I've been told. That's just a feeling. My feeling is that Jackson Arnold might want to reset somewhere, and they'll go pursue John Mateer or another quarterback in the transfer portal. But, I mean, Jackson Arnold did say, let's go back to what he just said on Saturday. I'll wait. I'll basically wait to see who the OC hire is, and then I'll kind of go from there. If that's a serious comment by Jackson Arnold, if he seriously is, hey, I haven't made up my mind yet. I want to see who the OC hire is, and then I'll make my decision from there. That would be a very attractive OC hire for Jackson Arnold, wouldn't you think? A guy that has developed quarterbacks, a guy that can, put him in a much better situation with the offense next year. If you're just looking at it from that angle, I would think that Jackson Arnold would like this hire at OC. But again, maybe he just wants to reset elsewhere. At this
Yeah, I
point.
think so too. But you can like the hire and still think it makes more sense to go pursue another opportunity, especially if John Mateer winds up at Oklahoma.
Right.
And even if he doesn't, even if John Mateer doesn't wind up at Oklahoma, it's still very much within the realm of possibility that Jackson Arnold says, you know what, I've had a great time here at OU, but it just makes more sense for me to go play quarterback here or there or somewhere.
Because I think one thing is for sure, whatever the combination of the three, John Mateer, Jackson Arnold, Michael Hawkins, are on the roster next year, you're not going to have all three on the roster next year. You're not going to have Michael Hawkins, Jackson Arnold, and John Mateer all three on the roster by the time September rolls around. You might have two of the three. You very well might have two of those three, but you're not going to have all three of those guys. Not going to.
No, not a chance.
Frisco Sooner, if OU can get Mateer, do you really care if Arnold leaves?
People would be less hurt.
Mm-hmm.
They would be less stung, certainly. Far less stung. Puerto Rican Sooner said Jackson Arnold will look real good in an Alcorn State uniform.
Jeez, guys. Man.
Is that Steve McNair's
Steve
alma mater?
McNair. That's where he played college football.
Alcorn State.
Are you saying Jackson Arnold is the next Steve McNair? Leads a team all the way to the Super Bowl just to come up 1 yard short. 1 yard shorts. I think that's what you're saying.
Hopefully that's where the Steve McNair parallels stop.
Right, yeah. Okay. 405. People forgot JFA got better every year in high school to the point where he was arguably the best quarterback in the country. Why do people think he can't do that now? Well, I think people believe that he can get better, but again, like next year, it wasn't just the OC hire. That's a massive deal for Brent Venables next season. The quarterback situation, I don't know if it's equally as important, but it's pretty big as well. Like, they've got to get the quarterback position right going into next year. So the question is now that you have your OC hired, what does Brent Venables want to do? Does he want to run it back with Jackson Arnold and a new OC? Or does he want a fresh start at quarterback and offensive coordinator next year in a year that's going to be super critical for him? But Arnold can get better for sure.
Oh, he can. People in the text line got jokes, though. J.A. would look mighty good as a North Texas mean green backup. Florida Sooner said Jackson Arnold fits the Army offense perfectly. You guys are vicious.
Gosh, man. 405, these OU fans are vicious. Yes, accurate.
Spence in Tulsa says, going to suck when JFA leads Oregon to the Natty next season.
Back-to-back OU quarterback, former OU quarterbacks leads Oregon to a national championship. Yeesh, that would hurt. Braden Presley, 2026, Bixby High School, got offered by OU today?
It wasn't today. It was a little while back.
Why did I just see the post today then?
I believe it was at the Alabama game that he was offered. Actually.
Okay, so it was recently, yeah.
Yeah, not too long ago, but pretty recently.
I like this text from the 405. Beers, fears, and mateers, baby.
Oh, man.
Make the NIL deal happen, guys. Rocky Beers, come on down in the transfer portal from Oklahoma. Rocky Beers in the portal from FIU, a tight ends, which, it doesn't have to be just Rocky Beers.
He's got family ties.
It could be his sister who's currently on campus right now, even if Rocky Beers does not come to OU. Beers, fears, and mateers would be an amazing NIL deal. What a great family. Reagan Beers, amazing basketball player. Rocky Beers, at least a decent football player, but an amazing name. And what's the other brother? Rowdy Beers.
Rowdy Beers.
Yes.
Puerto Rican Sooner says, Jackson's mental state is as fragile as my shirt buttons after Thanksgiving.
God. Jeez.
OU Optimist says J Fumble A is done at OU. Let's move on. Southeastern Louisiana State needs a quarterback and a tight end. We're sending Bauer Sharp back.
Oh, man. It is, people are all over him today. Man. The Normanite says, just want to get your opinion on the 45 seconds left, 2 timeouts, take a knee at the end of halftime. And then why not call the timeout so the offense can score at the end of the game? Just the defense sucked. So we're not going to go ahead and pack up and head on home. Normanite, I would have liked more of an effort with 45 seconds left and 2 timeouts to go down the field and score before halftime, because it felt like LSU had such a big momentum shift with the kickoff return for a touchdown and then the touchdown to go up by a score. Now, let's also be realistic. Raise your hand if you believe, with 45 seconds left and 2 timeouts, if OU was going to go down the field and score. I'm not raising my hand right now if you're not watching on YouTube Live.
I'm not raising my hand
But again, at the same time, like, dude, you're 6-5. You know,
you can get a field goal out of it.
Go be aggressive. You're 6-5.
And what did Zach Schmidt do against Missouri at the end of the first half?
Nailed like an 85-yarder.
Yeah, he hit from 56. So even if you just get in position for a long field goal, at least you give yourself a chance. Right? Give yourself a chance. Outlaw Devil asks, are the wide receiver decommits due to the OC change, roster limits, lack of spots, or something else? Yes, lack of spots. That is the explanation. A 405 listener says, J.A. might be able to walk on at East Central down in 8.
All right, guys. Enough out of you. Debating not even giving you an opportunity to win OU Georgia Tech basketball tickets tonight. But I will. I'm giving away 2 pairs of OU Georgia Tech basketball tickets coming up next. Listen in next segment on your chance to win a couple of tickets to OU Georgia Tech tonight, 8 p.m. at the Lloyd Noble Center. We'll do that and a whole lot more coming up next right here on The Ref. Horns Down Apple Pie Liquor is not your grandma's apple pie unless your grandma was a moonshiner with a PhD in flavor. This all-natural 6-time distilled spirit is sure to light up any party, tailgate, or special occasion. Whether toasting a touchdown or yelling at the Yums because Spike was safe, Horns Down Apple Pie is the perfect drink for celebrating the highs and lows of life in Oklahoma. Horns Down celebrates all of you who cheer from the berm, tailgate, on Lindsay Street, and wreak havoc on social media. You can find our red bottle at your local liquor store or search for your closest location at drinkhornsdown.com.
It's yours to spend. Spend it expanding your balance. Spend it expanding your mind. Spend it wondering what comes next. Spend it trusting that God has a plan. Spend it taking small steps in your own life. Spend it making a big impact on someone else's. First United Bank. Spend life wisely.
How about this? We're hanging out with the winningest coach in OU football history, Bob Stoops, Mondays on the T-Row in the Morning Show. It's the Stoops Review with the HBC on the T-Row Show, Mondays from 7:45 to 8:30 with limited commercial interruption. Every Monday, we'll be looking back at Saturday's OU game with a guy who knows what he's looking at. Bob Stoops, the Visor, the HBC on our show every Monday. Check it out.
From the gridiron to the hardwood to the diamond, no one covers the Sooners like we do. If it's Sooner Sports, we have you covered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. This is the home of Sooner fans.
This year, Norman Parks and Rec is starting a new tradition. Following the holiday parade on December 7th, join us at James Garner in Maine for the annual tree lighting. Following the lighting, kids will meet Santa and the Grinch, enjoy cocoa and cookies, make crafts, and enjoy performances. Don't leave early, there will be a Hollywood drone show. Take advantage of the fun and Norman's new holiday tradition. Go to Norman Parks and Rec on Facebook for more information.
It's been said that when someone you love has Parkinson's, you have Parkinson's.
The Parkinson's Foundation knows that the disease doesn't just affect the diagnosed, it affects everyone who supports and helps care for them.
If you have questions, the Parkinson's Foundation has answers.
We can help you understand the disease
and give you tips for living a better life.
Find your answers at parkinson.org or call 1-800-473-4636. The Parkinson's Foundation. Better lives together.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Hands are how we give. Hands are how we receive. To lend a hand and to hand it off. Hands are how we transform and how we redistribute. Our community needs a helping hand these days, and the United Way of Norman is there to offer it. From emergency services to vocational programs to grief counseling for the youth, the United Way connects your gift with the programs that will have the greatest impact on improving the lives of everyone in the community. Make your donation today and raise your hand for your community. Learn how you can give United at unitedwaynorman.org.
We tend not to think about right now, but right now in front of us is victory over cancer. Right now, cancer research funded by the V Foundation is leading to better treatments and saving lives. When you give to the V Foundation, 100% of your donation goes directly to game-changing cancer research. Victory over cancer is there for the taking by you. Donate at V.org, because today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Dorsey Jones Buick GMC in El Reno, bringing you this hour of Locked In with McComas and Thune. Dorsey Jones is family-owned and operated, established in 2020, but many of their employees have been there for more than 20 years. They sell Buicks and GMCs, which are some of the best trucks and SUVs on the road. It's Dorsey Jones Buick GMC in El Reno. All right, I got 4 tickets to give away. OU and Georgia Tech men's hoops tonight, 8 o'clock inside the Lloyd Noble Center. So first 2 people who answer this question correctly on the text line, I'm going to come away with 2 tickets tonight. We'll send those to you. The question is pretty simple, Parker Thune. The first 2 people to name a former Georgia Tech basketball player is going to win tickets to the game tonight.
I can name one.
Easily name one?
Yes.
Or did you have to really think about it?
No, I can easily name one.
Okay. John and Blanchard, you've won.
I can name one from this
Gator,
state.
you've won.
Yeah,
so
there
there's
you
your
go.
2 winners.
They named the same guy I was going to name.
Mark Price?
Oklahoma's own Mark Price.
Mm-hmm. Looking at a list right now that has the 15 best Georgia Tech basketball players ever, and Mark Price listed at number 1. Over guys such as Chris Bosh, Jarrett Jack, who else? Stephon Marbury.
Will Bynum. Is Will Bynum on the list?
Will Bynum was somewhere just outside the top 10, I want to say, on that list. John Sally was at number 12. Derek Favors was in the top 15. Will Bynum was at 14. Chris Bosh at 15. So congratulations, Gator. And, yeah, we got our 2 winners there. A lot of Mark Price. John and Blanchard and Gator. I'll get you those tickets, guys. Appreciate that. 405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. OU hires Randall Stevenson, AT&T CEO from 2007 to 2020. My man is refusing compensation for the job. How about that, huh? Refusing compensation for the new gig. And really what it sounds like, to make things simple, sounds like he's going to work closely with Joe Harris. Sounds like he's going to work closely with Brent Venables. Joe Castiglione as well, the athletic department. But OU is really running things like an NFL organization. And one thing that this signifies to me, Parker, is they're going to hire other people so Brent can focus on the football side. Because there's so much in collegiate athletics now and what's to come to where you have to worry about so much outside of football. It sounds like they made some hires here to where, Brent, just go focus on football. Go focus on your team. We'll have other individuals that worry about the other things, such as roster management and NIL and all that other stuff. That's what it feels like to me anyway.
If you can get a guy like that for $0, Tyler,
pretty good price.
Feels like a pretty solid transaction. And he was the chairman of AT&T for what, 14 years?
Yeah.
I see no downside.
And he loves OU. He loves the program.
Program guy, seriously. Alumnus, refusing compensation, just going out of his way to help Brent Venables and OU football. I'm all for it, man. Good stuff.
405, let's hope he doesn't run it like the Dallas Cowboys.
Amen to that.
And as a fan of the Dallas Cowboys, amen to that, yes. Jeff from OKC says, okay, guys, and the Ref Army, what are you looking forward to more now, bowl game or spring game? Well, I sit around all year long and say, God, when is it football season? And I hate when people, when we're in football season, say that they don't care about the games anymore. So I feel like I should say the bowl game, but it's going to be hard to be fired up, Parker, if OU's going to go play Jacksonville State in the Frisco Bowl in early December. That's going to be tough to get excited about. OU and Jacksonville State is one projection has them.
It's the Zach Alley Bowl, though.
That's true.
At least there's that.
Man, I hope that's not what where OU ends up playing.
Cherokee Sooner said neither. Softball.
Seth from the 918, is it possible we see some coaches, Nick Saban, return with some of the stuff being in place? I'd imagine it'll happen all over the country.
I wouldn't want to get back in the game if I was Nick Saban. I got a cushy TV gig.
What else does he need to prove, man? I mean, he might miss the competition of things, but it feels like he's enjoying things right now.
I guarantee you he's making well north of that 7-figure threshold to stand up there on the set on Saturdays and accuse Texas A&M of pumping in artificial crowd noise. He's doing all right.
Krabby Sooner says BV has given up on trying to score before halftime numerous times during his 3 years. They did have that drive against Missouri, like we mentioned, right before the half, but they did get a penalty. There was like a penalty after a punt return, I want to say. Some sort of penalty after a punt return, I think. Maybe they hit Peyton Bowen late or something like that. But, yeah, I would have wanted them to be a little bit more aggressive right before half there on Saturday. 4:05, if we play USC, we get our ass smoked because they can pass the ball down the field.
Indeed, they can. I don't think OU would get smoked by USC, though.
I don't think OU will play USC. Though I like Luke Elzinga saying that was at the top of his list, bowl game wish list, playing USC in the Vegas Bowl. I like that a lot.
It's a company man.
Jake from Wisconsin says, all I know is that OU's last couple quarterback studs were transfers. Baker, Kyler, Jalen, and Dylan Gabriel. I think Mateers is the solution. Who is the last homegrown quarterback that was recruited here, developed here, played here, left here, that we said, all right, you recruited him, he played his entire career here, and he ended up being a stud?
You know what the answer is? Sam Bradford. That's the answer. Depends on your feelings of Landry Jones.
I was going to say, Landry Jones is more recent, but sure. I mean, Blake Bell had to switch from being a quarterback to a tight end.
That is correct.
So he didn't even play his entire career at that position. But that's kind of crazy. I mean, even if it is Landry Jones, that's over a decade now.
Well, and Blake Bell remains the last quarterback to sign with Oklahoma out of high school and finish his career at Oklahoma. That's how long it's been, Tyler. That was the class of 2010.
I know. It's insane, man.
Every single quarterback that Oklahoma has signed since has finished their collegiate career somewhere other than Oklahoma. It sounds ridiculous, but it's true. Every single one.
Yeah, and clearly that's going to become more common around college football now, or it has become more common around college football now, but I wonder how many schools can say that. The last guy that they recruited, actually finished their career on campus, was over a decade ago. That's just wild, man. Wild. Frisco Sooner says, I'm not trying to throw shade on Arnold or Hawkins, and I think both are great kids and have a chance to be really good players, but guys, in my opinion, Mateer, especially after the hire of Arbuckle, would be a huge upgrade from what OU has right now. Unfortunately for those two, OU doesn't have the time or ability to take that chance. Right or wrong, that ship has sailed. So I think Frisco Sooner is essentially saying, take the guy that had the better season last year. Take the guy that had better numbers than the two guys that are currently on campus right now. OU doesn't have the time for those guys to really develop and be good quarterbacks. Go get John Mateer. And, hey, I don't know about you, but I feel very, very strongly that John Mateer will enter into the transfer portal. And I'd feel that way. I'd feel that way even if Ben Arbuckle was still at Washington State this year. I mean, he's a quarterback in a situation where he had a good year, and if he just enters his name in the transfer portal, someone else is going to give him a ton of money, or Washington State is going to give him a ton of money to come back. That's just kind of the way of the sport right now. So Mateer will be in the transfer portal. We'll see what OU does with it.
In the midst of all this, you have Greg from Lawton calling out AT&T and Randall Stevenson.
Oh, nice.
AT&T is one of the worst companies maybe ever, although they had a semi-monopoly under Randall's watch, so maybe that's a good thing. In Josie, I trust.
One of the worst companies maybe ever. Does Greg have
sounds like a dissatisfied
terrible
AT&T
service
customer.
right there? Is that where Greg's getting at? Oh, man.
Sooner Bump says, since we're paying players now, we should be able to make trades, and I'll go first. Offering mid-zoo Bauer Sharp in exchange for their washing machine.
You guys are like on one today. What's going on? Tuesday afternoon, we're out for blood. Is that what it is? Just hired an OC, and you guys are coming after personnel on the offense. Speaking of the offense, I did have this down today. What portal entries, unexpected portal entries from the offense would hurt the most? Xavier Robinson, that one would sting if that were to happen. I don't think that's going to happen.
No,
but
I'll
just
tell you which one would
theoretically.
hurt. Yeah, I'll tell you which one would hurt the most. Nick Anderson.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah. He's a good player. He just got to stay healthy, of course, right?
But when he has been healthy, he's been OU's best offensive player.
He's been
arguably.
good. But losing Xavier Robinson would suck. Hope
That
doesn't
would
happen.
suck. I mean, losing any of those running backs that can play and that we've seen play at a high level would suck. Like losing Taylor Tatum would suck. I know everybody wants to crucify him over the fumbles. There's still a lot of potential there. Ball security's got to get better, and it will. This is such a hilarious text. I read this. And, of course, it's Yoda that sent it in. The text just reads, guys, the Fasusi?
Will he wait to sign, I ask. Yoda's come by the postgame show a couple of times. Very, very nice guy.
It's an
very nice
Hall
guy.
of Fame text. Guys, the Fasusi?
The Fasusi seems like in a okay spot as of 3:01 Central Standard Time, the day before early signing
I would
period.
say Oklahoma's in a pretty decent spot. As good of a spot as you could hope for them to be in, given the circumstances.
And why is that the case? Why are they in that spots?
Because Texas sucks?
Well, yeah, but because Bill
Sir
Bedenbaugh's gonna
William
become-
E. Bedenbaugh is a lifer.
You know what we totally forgot to do last week? Talking about the new OC and taking Thursday off for Thanksgiving and our trip to Baton Rouge and all of that. It is December 3rd. It is December 3rd. We are into the month of December, and we did not award KREF Recruiter of the Month for the month of November. And I got to tell you, I have no idea who we would crown as KREF Recruiter of the Month for the month of November. I got no idea.
Who qualifies?
Who didn't lose a recruit in the month of November? That's who's up for it right now.
Like, did OU get a commitment in any sport in the month of November?
I don't think they did. I mean, they had what? I think would they have had signing day for softball in the month of November? Yeah, I feel like that would have happened in the month of November, but certainly not on the football front. This is a good point from the 405. One that I think that would sting. Can't lose EPL. I think a lot of people are very excited about the potential of Eddie Pierre-Louis, and I share those opinions. I think Eddie Pierre-Louis, he didn't get to play a ton this year, but for when we saw him out there, that dude can move some bodies. He's got a chance to be a real mauler for you on the offensive line.
Scott T says losing Tyler McComas to the portal would be devastating.
I don't think so. I think you guys would move on rather quickly from that and be just fine with it. LC in Newcastle says, who's Nick Anderson? It has been a while.
Has it been so long as to induce memory loss? Scott T says it's got to be Porter Moser for November.
Okay,
sure. Did Porter get anybody in November?
I have no idea, but he had a really great month of November on the hardwood.
As a recruiter, though?
Well, maybe the wins help him out on the recruiting front. I don't know. We got to award it to somebody. Porter Moser's as good of a name as anyone else. Dude, they are a 12.5-point favorite tonight over Georgia Tech. Like, Georgia Tech's got some injuries. I guess Javian McCollum is not going to play tonight. He's banged up, but 12.5-point favorite at the LNC tonight against Georgia Tech.
Great point by Angry Ronnie. Brent Venables, Recruiter of the Month for recruiting Ben Arbuckle.
Hey, there you go. Utah is not Recruiter of the Month. Sorry, guys.
I guess the commitment technically happened in the month of December, but seeing as how Oklahoma had been actively engaged with Arbuckle for several weeks already, maybe that's why we give it to Brent Venables.
Recruiting update real quick before we get to tomorrow's recruiting rankings. Ohio State at 1, Georgia at 2, Bama at 3, Texas at 4, LSU at 5, Auburn at 6, Michigan at 7, Oregon at 8, Florida at 9, A&M at 10, Tennessee at 11, Notre Dame at 12, Miami at 13, Ole Miss at 14. Then there's Oklahoma sitting there right now at number 15, inside the top 15. We'll see what happens tomorrow. The Rush is coming up next. Keep it locked on the Ref.